What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another Sport Exposure podcast. Today we have a Hampton legend here, Dustin Johnson. As you know, Sport Exposure is all about exposing our sport stories, sport journeys, the things that we've gone through to really leave a blueprint for student athletes and really creating a safe space for student athletes, the past, present, and future. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I know, but tell the people about you.
Like she said, Hampton native. Been around the area for a while. Spent a lot of time in Newport News as well. Family from all over. Come from an athletic family, but most important, village. You know, not just with my family, but outside of my family in a world that kind of doesn't exist anymore. Adults, you know, if they got to disciplining other kids, just period. Wherever you went, people knew your kid or people knew your parents, or, we looked after each other. That's everywhere. Didn't matter what it was. But so just this whole area, through sports, through time, things outside of sports, some good, some bad. But this is home, and just trying to help it grow and get it caught up to where everybody else is, because it's a lot of greatness, untapped greatness out here.
Heavy on untapped. That
people don't really realize is here because there's a lot of clouds around. So,
politics.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So here at Sport Exposure, our motto is celebrating triumphs and learning from defeats.
Right.
When you think about your sport journey and that motto, what comes to mind? What does that mean to you?
My sports journey, it's a lot of things come to mind, kind of mixed emotions. I was always driven. I always knew what I wanted. It's crazy because I had a conversation with one of my clients yesterday, and they were just asking me, like, what was you more excited about, college or the NFL? And I didn't even look at college the way I looked at the NFL, because it was always a dream. Like, NFL, it's going to be the NFL, it's going to be the NFL. I kind of looked past it, but didn't quite understand the politics that come with everything, and I wasn't prepared outside of the sport for those higher levels like I thought I was. Mm-hmm. My family, my parents, my environment wasn't prepared for it. And just growing. So now that's my drive now with my athletes, and what I do now is to kind of get them prepared for that moment. But just getting everything I can out of athletics. In high school, I 3-sport athlete, football, basketball, track. Did all three. I performed at a pretty high level. I would like to think in all three, some more than others, but I was always in the game. I was always a factor in whatever sport I played, just because I was driven. Like I said, I was always motivated, but things could have been a lot better if I was aware of the things that I'm aware of now.
That's a lot of our stories. Right. We miss out on a lot of that. I feel like it's a lack of knowledge,
right.
A strong lack of knowledge when it comes to student athletes, and it comes to it transfer over when I'm preparing for the league, and I'll blow my knee out before that happens. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't ever have a a plan B, a backup plan, or even preparation to even know how to navigate what to do next, right? So coming from a strong sports background, what would you say sports has done for you?
It's gave me so many priceless life skills that you can't get any place else. It don't matter where you from, what you've been through. Sports, it gets everything out of you, because you have to give it everything to be somewhat successful or even a part of it. Mental fortitude, working in a team setting, learning how to deal with others when you might not want to. A lot about yourself, taking yourself to breaking points that you never know you could get to. And just character. All that sums up in the character. Just character is so underrated nowadays, because people learn how to be certain characters instead of the characters that they shaped up to be.
Right.
So the character that sports brings is just so underrated, because people think they know certain athletes, through what they see on TV, not understanding the character that they are to get them to be who they are on that TV.
Right. So you had mentioned not even thinking about college, preparing for the league. looking back on that, what would you change? And what was your mindset? Because, of course, we all hear student first, athlete second.
Right.
That's not the reality.
Right.
It's the athlete first, student second.
No, without a doubt. What would I change? I would spend less time hanging and chilling. You know, when I started reaching success and started being recognized and people started knowing who I was, I spent a lot of time around people that made me feel good about who I was, instead of spending time with people that was gonna push me further. I was always the one out of all my friends or homeboys or whoever, whatever you want to call it. That was the one that was supposed to, you know, take it there, make it to the top, or, you know, be that guy to kind of come back and pull everybody in. So it created, it piled on pressure in the long run that kind of took a toll on my mental when things when things got, you know, kind of went another direction and I didn't know how to bring it back. Pushed a lot of people away, you know, which was good later on, but it brought a storm that taught me a lot about life and myself. Not because it was always sports. You know, I didn't know life without it. I didn't think past sports. It was always somehow, some way, I'm meant to be in this position, I'm gonna be there. Not understanding, there's certain steps you gotta take. In certain, you know, understandings you have to figure out that I didn't take the time to figure out. I just thought I would always be good enough, and, you know, my talent and abilities, you know, will always provide an opportunity somehow, some way. And when those opportunities, you know, stopped coming, at that time, I didn't know how to create more opportunities to keep that dream alive. So just always thinking about, you know, the companies I kept, which 95% of those people are no longer present in my life. And whether it's by my choice or whether it's by things that happened, that God pushed them away or took them away. Some are no longer with us, rest in peace. But just the way I spent my time, I was poor with time management. You know, put a little work in, then it's chill for the rest of the day. And understanding, watching film and studying my craft. I don't think I was a craftsman the way I should have been. I just felt like, all right, I got this ability, I got that ability, that's gonna give me an opportunity. So
you mentioned some of those storms that come with being a student athlete, and growing up here in the 7-5, there are a lot of distractions, which come from the environment, right? And it's sometimes very hard to navigate through those storms in the environments that we're used to being in, because they're not used to seeing us in that light or maybe in that dark, because we've had such a high status. We've always been this, the accolades, the recognitions. So talk about the storms that you had to weather. It might have been by yourself at one point.
Man, where do I start? I start as far back as high school. I go my sophomore year. When I was in Little League all the way up. Some would say I was the best running back, the best, you know. Of course, I'm gonna say that because I'm confident in myself. But, you know, a lot of people, you know, deem me as like the best running back in the city in Little League. I was star running back. You know, I went to Phoebus High School. Shouts out to Phoebus. Still, you know, kind of carrying on the torch, what we kind of created in my area. But I came in as a running back, started on the JV, which was big back then because the running back was the featured guy at Phoebus. I was slated to be, you know, top 2, top 3 varsity running backs. I broke my arm in the scrimmage with the JV. I wasn't even supposed to be playing, and I scored 2 touchdowns the day before in a varsity game. My dad was a JV coach. He was like, look, son, I just need you for this last scrimmage. You know, I was probably going to be straight varsity from the first game moving forward. He was like, I don't think my running backs know the plays, you know, so I played and ended up breaking my arm, you know, celebrating down the sideline. A dude horse collared me, and went to break my fall. I broke my arm, and I kept playing because I didn't want to look dumb. And I never forgot, I'm running the ball. My daddy getting on me like, yo, what's up with you? You turning your tail. I knew something was wrong with my arm, but I didn't want to look dumb. I'm high stepping on the sideline. Dude ran the back of me. I wasn't used to people, being able to catch up with me, but I wasn't running. I started high stepping. He pulled my hose collar and I broke my arm. But he took me out, and I remember my mother, like, she wasn't really allowed to like come to me and be like, yo, let me see. Like, but something just told her like, come here. So she seen my arm, it was swollen. So she told my pops after the game, like, he was going in on me like, you running like that's how I was brought up. Pops was always hard on me. And then after the game, I went to the hospital and it was like, yeah, I had a fracture. Radius, whatever. And so my mother's like, I knew something was wrong with him because, I was big on toughness. Even if things hurt, I always got up. Like I always, and our varsity got me prepared for that because I was scout team running back against the starting varsity defense and through 2 of days and, through my freshman year and then, my sophomore year, I took on that role to go against those guys which my sophomore year, we won the state championship, star-studded defense, full of studs, 4-5, power 5 football players on defense, so I took a lot of punishment. And so when it came to like lower level competition, it was like domination. But then I, getting hurt, I never factored that in. So I say all that to say, we had another running back, which ended up being the number 1 running back in the country later on. He was my fullback, but then he had to become running back, which he was more than ready and prepared for body-wise, but learning to play Elon Lewis. He ended up being an Army All-American. But I had to sit down and, I had to sit out some games, let my arm heal. And then I ended up coming back a little earlier than what I should have. They had me in a soft cast because it was cracked. It was a small fracture. And then I ended up playing earlier. I would wrap it up, but then I put a glove over top. I played 2-3 games. And it was like, before we move you back on the varsity, you could dress on the varsity, but before we put you back on the field, any type of way, you play with the JV, and I dominated 2-3 JV games, opening kickoffs. I think 2 games straight. I might have ran them back. No one for sure, but dominated. And then we played Bethel. I was doing my thing. I broke on a run, got up, and 2 linemen was wrestling after the play, rolled up on my arm. And then the next time I broke it like it was bad. It was real bad. My bone was hanging. It almost broke my skin. And, went back to the doctor, had to sit out again. And then we had the state semifinals, my first game coming back with the varsity JV season over. My brother, who ended up going to HU and left HU, was going to Coverville, Kansas. He ended up dying. Rest in peace to Ronnie. It's funny story. I got to throw this in there. My first game to come back to dress, he forgot his cleats. That's our starting quarterback. But it's my brother. So he forgot his cleats, and he was like, he walked around the locker room, he panicking, like, I forgot my cleats. And we knew we couldn't tell our head coach because he was real superstitious. So who I am,
you gave him your cleats.
I gave him my cleats. And I went to the head coach and told him, he died too, rest in peace, Bill D. I went to him and told him I forgot my cleats. He cussed me out. Even though I was still like this player we didn't really need. Like he was just superstitious. Like he thought something was gonna go wrong because any little thing would set him off. I took it on the chin. And my brother had the game of his life. Really brought him out. I think he might have threw 2-3 touchdowns. I think he might have ran for 1. And then after the game, we told Coach D, he forgot his cleats. I gave him mine. And it worked out. You know what I'm saying? But that's just who I was. I knew that we needed my brother more than me. And then, they would have found him. Something would have give, but we gonna get this out the way. I just need you to focus. Yeah. That's just who I was. And then not understanding how to be like that, only be like that with certain people and not other people, kind of hurt my journey in certain ways because I was selfless to the wrong people when I should have been selfish in certain moments.
And I feel like that's important at that age. Because in high school, we still figuring ourselves out. We find ourselves.
Right.
And going through a lot, all of that at that age is a lot for anybody.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
How was that mentally like for you?
It was tough mentally because I ended up having to switch positions. And at the time, I had to move to wide receiver because I couldn't work out. I couldn't train in the running back position. You know, I was lean, kind of slender. I had to get bigger and I couldn't lift. So I had to make a decision. I almost wanted to transfer schools because we didn't throw the ball. But, you know, I built the bond with my brothers. We were state champs, you know, trying to come back and repeat again. You know, leaving was a thought for myself, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna figure this thing out. You know, God gonna take care of me. And I was a fairly good athlete. I knew I could transition positions, but it was more so on trusting our coach enough to throw me the ball, to get me the ball. I had All-American Philip Brown. Shouts out to my brother Philip Brown, who started at UVA as a freshman. He was the best player in the state his senior year. He was a, you know, wide receiver, corner. He did everything. So, you know, he was that guy on our team as far as, featured in multiple positions. I mean, we had, of course, our running back I was telling you about. He ended up starting the next year. You know, he got big and, you know, off season, he really handled business. He ended up starting as a sophomore, became #1 sophomore running back in the country. It was my junior year, sophomore year. And I was a role player. I mean, I made a few plays, a couple touchdowns, a couple tackles. I played safety on defense, but it pushed me back. I had to wait my time.
Right. That's a lesson in itself too.
It gave me more pride in our program because I learned a lot about, you know, how things work in life though, you know, paying dues. Like, it's a lot of people who just go straight to the top from them. Like, I paid dues. Like, so now looking at it, it taught me that, like, people say trust the process all the time, but I really trust the process because I know how to pay dues. I know how it's gonna come. Like, putting that work in, like, you know, like believing in yourself. And it's always gonna be something good at the end as long as you don't waver. And I never wavered. So my senior year came, I ran track, did fairly good. I was a 200-meter runner. I ran sometimes 100, 4x1. Ended up making some noise in track. Basketball too. I started my junior, senior year for the most part. Just competitive, just competing, just never gave in to nobody because of a title or because of status or, accolades according to who they supposed to be to other people. Like, versus me, it's about me. And that's to this day. You know, I give people credit for what they doing. Anybody that's even doing what I'm doing or, call themselves competition to me, it ain't no competition because I'm always going to be ready. And I'm a firm believer in as long as you prepare, it's no competition. And that's just, and I'm going to live and die with that. Like, he's only competition because he was more prepared than me.
For sure.
Not because he's better.
For sure.
And, so it kind of brought a beast out of me. And then my senior year, I took off. Like, every chance, it was I averaged a touchdown more than every other catch. I was scoring. I was getting in the end zone. I had to make it because I didn't know when the ball was gonna come back to me. Mm-hmm. So I ended up making first team all district, all region, all state honorable mention. Played in the VHSL All-Star game. Went to junior college in Kansas because I didn't have a SAT. My GPA was decent enough to get in a good school, but I didn't take a SAT till my senior year. My pops, even though he coached, he wasn't one of them coaches that was on, shouts out to Pops, but he wasn't one of them coaches that was on the top of the top. I'm not gonna say top tier, but he was like one of them coaches that did the dirty work. He was like one of them coaches that had the uncomfortable conversations with the kids because he was African American. A lot of our coaches was white.
You need that.
Our team was predominantly black. So he did a lot of the dirty work, but he didn't understand you got to have an SAT score going into your senior year. He didn't understand, like, you need this score compared to this GPA as a sliding scale. So it was just like, son, you ball, you gonna get a scholarship. Not understanding, like, oh, now we starting to figure out, like, we ain't getting the looks we deserve because we don't got no SAT. So I took my signing days in February. It was like February 5th, I think, my senior year. I didn't take the SAT to like February 1st.
Oh.
So even with expedited scores coming back, it still wasn't back in time. And then all the pressure, you know, it's basketball season at this time, my senior year. So, you know, I got a basketball game Friday night, then I got to wake up the next morning and take the SAT, then I got a game Saturday night. I didn't do well at all my first SAT.
It's a hard
Definitely
test.
didn't qualify, right, man? But it was more so pressure. And then I ain't gonna lie, you know, at Phoebus, man, when we start winning state championships and we start getting special privileges that we didn't attack our academics the way we should have. We didn't have to. So if you tell a younger student that he don't have to go to class, he gonna get a certain grade. I mean, us being young and living in, you know, when you're young, you live in the moment.
Exactly.
You're not looking at being prepared for the moment later down the line. You're just looking at that moment. So, you know, with certain things I needed to know, I didn't know. But I was always smart. Growing up, my mom and daddy tell you out of all their kids, I was the smartest one. But I started to neglect things that I needed, you know, for things that I wanted. And it crushed me when it came to, you know, qualifying NCAA. So, you know, definitely had some serious looks. Virginia, Marshall, Kent State, you know, UVA was a school I was slated to go to. I had a relationship with Mike London. You know, Al Grove was the head coach at the time. Shouts out to Mike London, head coach at William & Mary now. Great dude. But I didn't have what it took academically to become a student there. So I took the JUCO route. I went to Kansas, which
that's a story in itself.
Which at the time was it was a nightmare at the time, because going into my 2 days before graduation, my brother that I told you I gave the cleats to, he died in a car accident. And it sent, you know, it broke me. It really made me upset with, like, at the time, not understanding life, still learning life. It made me upset with, like, the Most High, because I'm like, wow, my brother, you know. And it's crazy because one of my first close friends that died, my junior year, he got shot and killed. He took me to get his name on my arm tattooed, and then so it was so much.
Yeah, but that comes with being an athlete, though. Like, right, they'll never give us a space to just be. Because all that happens. Like, I didn't have 6 immediate deaths, 2 immediate deaths preseason. Like, I ain't had time to process that. I had preseason. But in hindsight, that messes you up.
Because you still got to perform.
And that's what they don't tell you.
And they don't care.
No matter what happened, I don't know how many points I had, touchdowns you had, you don't even know I just lost one of my closest friends last night. And that's something that I feel I'm glad that you're saying that, because that's something that we don't talk about, and they tell us not to talk about it. Like, it's a lot of people that we see now on national TV. A lot of people don't want to talk after the games. Y'all finding them. Y'all don't know what happened the night before that. Y'all know what happened before that game. But to your point, and that's why I asked about the mental aspect of it, because sports will kind of put a Band-Aid on a lot of those situations that eventually get ripped off, and we don't know what to do with it. And I feel like that's one of those experiences. So, and JUCO in itself, without this situation, I know was a process too. And that's something we don't talk about. The JUCO route.
Yeah, JUCO was, I went to Fort Scott, Kansas. It was wild because my first flight out there, one of the parts on the plane was messed up. So the people had to drive to Virginia Beach to get a part for the plane. And I'm like, hold on.
Here we go.
Part for the plane? I call my pops, I call him on the payphone. I ain't no cell phone. I call him on the payphone, like, Pops, like, he like, man, get your ass on that plane. Like, oh, man, it's going to be all right. And I'm like, yo. So they ended up giving us a free round trip because of the delay, which helped me later on. But flew out there, flew into Kansas City, Missouri, which is the city. So I'm like, oh, this is all right out here. They picked us up in the shuttles, and you know, people coming from different places. We all hopped in the shuttle, like, oh, all right, where you from? conversating for about an hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then they park the car. We look around. They like, oh, welcome to Fort Scott. And it's this dry, country community college, which at the time, going through what I went through with pro, and I wasn't prepared for just to go to school and deal with the politics that came with junior college. Back then, I don't know how it is now, but you can only have 12 out-of-state players on the roster, which is including the players from the year before. So a lot of the people that came in had the red shirt, sit out, and it was this little fee I had to pay, and that's how God worked. It was this little fee, something I had to pay for me to be considered, before I was considered a student. But I had saved up my little graduation money because my parents were hardworking people, but we went through a lot of tough times at that time, especially with me. I'm the last one that did what they did for my sister, my brother, and but with me, it was a lot of things that I had to figure out on my own because my parents weren't in the space financially to do. So I saved up a couple dollars of graduation money. My pops threw me a couple ones and twos, but it wasn't a lot. And I put my money away in my little drawer. Somebody broke in my room and stole my money. So
out there.
So now I ain't got nothing. So I'm dealing with just things that's piling up. And I end up getting in a little scuffle with an athlete in front of the team. Put me out of meeting. They put me out of the team. And luckily, I got my round trip pass from the delay when I went out there. So
that paid your way back.
Paid my way back. So I left JUCO after like a month, some change. Came home.
Out there for a month?
I was out there for like a month and a half, 2 months. I wasn't on the team no more. I was a student for like 2 months after they put me on the team. And I just going to class with people with cowboy boots, with spurs. We had a rodeo team. If it stormed and rained outside, we had to practice in the rodeo arena, poop. Man, it was different. But I mean, I was cool with that if everything else was cool.
Right.
So it's like, man, I got to deal with this. It was a pile on. So came home, got me a little job, a little job. Started indulging in things in the streets as well. Doing anything I had to do to get me to the next day. Still working out on the side, not to the extent that they do now, because it wasn't all these resources and gyms and, but any chance I get to work on my craft, I was doing it. But I caught myself, like, my surroundings started changing. Caught myself being around more hustlers, and it was kind of going down a road where it was like, what you want to do? Like, this is starting to become
your
who
life.
you are,
right?
And I was still taking SAT. That's when I got introduced to the ACT. I would be falling short here there with the ACT, and almost a calendar year went by. It was around March or April. I had like one ACT left. And my pops, being a smart individual he started like seeing like, all right, he got some issue with him. He got some stuff going on like that I ain't really standing with. So the day before I took my last ACT, I'll never forget. I don't know what I was thinking. I brought some females to my mom and daddy crib. I thought they was gone for the night. This was me and my homeboy over there. And it won't like we had a big space. It's still the house they at now. They came in the house, kicked us all out, made us go outside. And my pops ran down on me like, yeah, you got a lot of stuff, but you better be ready for that test. And you're going to have to get out of my house. And I ain't number 19.
Test.
Yeah. I ain't number 19 years old. I'm like, I ain't ready to go out here in the real world. Of course, I'm trying to convince myself I am, but these little petty jobs, and I would have probably really had to be a full-fledged hustler. So got up, went to my mama let me use the car to take the test. Ran out of gas on the way. Ran out of gas on the interstate. I don't know what it was. But mind you, I'm not registered to take the test. I'm on standby. So I got to get there to make sure I still got a spot to take. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, God, just get me to take this test, please. Because at that time, I'm thinking, living in the moment, I'm thinking like, if I don't go take this test, this man ain't gonna let me back in this crib though. Because of what happened the night before. Man, the car started. I drove real slow. And it was a Heritage High School. I'll never forget. Shouts out to Barbecue, man. He held me down after the test. But anyway.
So you made it?
I made it.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of God. And it's crazy because when I went to take the test, you go in the room, take the, they're like, oh yeah, you good, stand by. We got enough space for you to take the test. I ain't even about to lie to you. I went and took the test. I don't even know if I ever told this on you. I don't even care. But I went to take the test. Wasn't mentally prepared. I'm, kind of talking and conversing with people before the test started. And it was a Caucasian young man to my left who was like in 10th grade. And I'm like, what grade are you? Like 10th grade. I'm like, 10th grade? What you doing taking the ACT already? So now I'm like, man, this dude a genius. He's smart. He knows something.
Need it.
Man, I'm left-handed. He's right-handed. So first section went by, my mind all over the place. I took it the best of my ability. Second section, I think, was math. I'm just over the test. The third section, I kind of, something just was like, look to your left. So I looked at my left. And I'm like, I'm looking at his test and looking at my test.
It's the same.
It's the same thing.
That don't happen too often with them
So
tests.
I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm like, but what they did was on his page 1 and 2, he might have 1, 2, 3, 4 on page 1. On my page 1, I might have 1 and 2. So from a perception standpoint, it's a different test, but it's the same questions, the same answers, the same. So I'm like, okay, we might got some action. So I ain't gonna lie.
Everything he did,
I did.
Right.
Straight like that. I ain't even about to lie to you. So we got a break after the third section. The teacher like, you go to the bathroom. Everybody go to the bathroom. I'm like, nah, my stomach hurt. They go to the bathroom. I open his test. I delete my whole first section. I dot because you ain't got time to fill in. I just dot it. Because on the ACT, you're not allowed to go back. So I dotted. I dotted up. And then when he came back, we took this. So every section, so on the fourth section, as I fill in my answers, I'm going back and penciling in the ones I dotted from the other section. And I ain't got nothing to lose.
At that point,
If he dumb, I'm dumb too. Cause I done took this test 3-4 times. It ain't worked for me. I was broken. So another situation came a week later. Another situation came at the crib. And Pop's like, man, you got to get out of my house. Matter of fact, I'm going to call and check on this test. And if this test ain't right, you got to go. I'm tired of you. He called the people. We ain't had the internet at our crib at the time. We just ain't had the internet. Called the people. I never forget. He got on the phone with the lady. It's like, what'd he get? She'll give me a minute, Mr. Johnson. 22.5. All I needed was an 18. So 22.5 was...
Shout out to that 10th grader.
Come on. I wish I knew him. He changed my life. I swear I owe him. And I qualified NCAA to go to a 4-year school because I never was deemed a student at JUCO because I didn't pay a little fee. So now it's like I'm a freshman all over again. Man, first time I ever cussed at my father. Now I wasn't nothing crazy. I told your ass. I'm going through the house like, yeah, what? Because now I'm like, all right, ain't nothing else holding me back. I don't got to go to JUCO. But instead of calling bigger schools that recruited me, my pops was like, man, he didn't want me to go far away because of the JUCO experience. He was just like, look, we gonna go over to another state. Heard they got a new coaching staff. So we went over to another state. He was communicating with the defensive back coach, they was a new staff getting to know the area. So Phoebus is Phoebus. They started building a rapport with Phoebus, and at the time we had tapes. We brought my tape over there. They was doing 7-on-7 Tuesdays and Thursdays. It was on a Tuesday. And my pops was like, went to meet the head coach. How you doing? Whatever. And he was like, Coach Adrian, P. Adrian. Man, that man saved my life too. Later on. But he was like, we full for camp. He could walk on during the season. We kind of full with numbers. My pop's like, well, just look at the tape. Don't y'all do 7-on-7 Tuesday, Thursday? He's like, yeah, we had already registered for the school. I got accepted. So he was like, yeah. He was like, when he's accepted in school? My pop's like, yeah, he's accepted in the school. All right, we can come 7-on-7. So I guess they looked at my film. When I came back for 7-on-7 that evening, they gave me my letter for camp. So now I can go to camp. So now I'm in camp. I tore 7-on-7 up. I was a wide receiver. I killed 7-on-7. I mean, destroyed it and put on the show. And all the upperclassmen, they was too cool for 7-on-7. They weren't dressing out, but they would come watch.
Of course.
You know, the receivers anyway, especially, they was real Hollywood. That Thursday, they all was doing 7-on-7 because then I'd applied this full court pressure. Because I'm looking at it like, that's Norfolk State. Oh, man, come on, man.
You about to eat this up.
I'm about to eat this up. They offered, because when we played Norcom, my senior year, I had 4 catches, 4 touchdowns, an interception. They offered me a scholarship. After the game, I was like, I'm good. I'm trying to go to Virginia Tech. This one with UVA and Tech was through the roof. But I'm like, I'm good, you know. Not understanding. Norfolk State just moved to the MEAC. There was 1AA. Black college, I just weren't interested in because I just knew they didn't get coverage. They didn't get... So, camp started. You know, I was just underdog. It was always underdog. Got a receiver transfer from Florida State. Shouts out to my man Nitro. Everybody, all the new people had to introduce themselves, transfers and freshmen. And I remember him standing up. They was like, tell him your 40 time. You know, they was big on him. He was an exceptional athlete. He ran a 4.25. He's from Miami. You know, a lot of hype behind him. And not to say he didn't live up to it high. He was pretty good. But, you know, I looked at that like, you know, just respectfully, you know, that was my competition. As far as like, ain't nobody really know me. They knew I could play, but I didn't have all that hype behind me.
Right.
But like I did, just going through what I've been through, you know, I never needed nobody else but myself.
They put an extra chip on your shoulder.
Oh my goodness. So when camp started, I was third team receiver, worked my way up to the first team. Just upperclassmen mess up there, call my name, I come in, I'm making plays. So now I'm in the starting group with the wide receivers. But one of my teammates, Don Carey, who played 10 years in the NFL, he had his clearinghouse got red flag. He played safety and corner. So we didn't have no backup safety at the time. So I'm a physical defensive back. And I never forget because, you know, it was people used to talk, DBs would talk in the back freshman locker room, and I'm like, I'm gonna run you over. Like, you know, so I was physical, I was with it. And one morning, coach called my name. Coach told me to come into his office. So they were like, Coach Adrian wants you. I'm thinking like, man, what I do now? And he was like, Johnson, he was like, you know, how you feeling? You know, how you feel about playing defensive back? And I'm like, and I'm thinking like, dang, like I just worked my way up from third team to first team wide receiver.
Exactly.
And he was like, he slid me a piece of paper, turned that piece of paper over, and it was a scholarship. He was like, I want you to be on my defense. So signed a scholarship. And now I'm you know, that was it from there. You know, so but then when it came to defensive backs, I had to work my way from third team, fourth team back up again. Right. But I'm on scholarship. So now I'm playing with more confidence because like this man believe in me. He sees something, and he coached, you know, Nick Collins, who played in the NFL, borderline Hall of Famer, ended up being my teammate when I played in the American Flag Football League with Michael Vick. He was on our team later on, and we kind of was talking about Coach Adrian and whatever, but coached him. Coach Rasheem Mathis, who was a lead corner for the Jaguars. So he seen something in me, you know, that he seen in those guys. And it made me play to a high level at a young age. I didn't look at it like I'm a freshman. I didn't, you know, and I came from Phoebus too. So it was more so like, yeah, I don't care who in front of me, juniors, seniors, all like I'm out here. So it led me to my freshman year. I did exceptionally well on special teams. Started the last 3-4 games. had 2 interceptions, but I had a strain on a relationship with my position coach because he had his guys he coached. I guess he didn't see what my coach seen. And he just didn't like the confidence I had in myself. And we bumped heads.
That happens.
And when I say we bumped heads, even so coming into my sophomore year, I started the last 3-4 games and we won 2 out of 3 and we was trash as far as our record.
Yeah.
Got me on the second team. And I'm like, hold on. People in front of me, no knock to them.
They want you.
One of them was an All-American. The other one was just, he was a person that struggled at times. You know, not taking that away from his ability, but he struggled for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And I started doing a lot of immature things off the field, you know. I would come into meetings smelling like marijuana, you know, on purpose. Like, I'm bucking. I'm on all BS. And not understanding, you know, how that affected me from consistently playing throughout. I gave him all the ammunition he needed to keep me off the field. And it was I think after like our 4th or 5th game, we just played HU. They trashed us. The All-American cornerback had a really, really bad game. And he just was struggling. He was hyped up going into the season, but he was struggling. And I came in and played fairly decent. I think I gave up 1 play, which was a questionable call. They gave the boy a catch. And when I look at the replay to this day, you seen the ball move. If it was in today's, with all this replay and all that, I feel like they wouldn't have gave it to him, but they did. Shouts out to Andre Jones. He was in the NFL for a minute too. But the following week, me and the head coach and position coach had a meeting to sit down, and he was let my position coach talk and, you know, what's going on with you and Johnson and why is he not playing? And I'm sitting there just like, you know what I'm saying? And the head coach let him talk. And he looked at me, looked at him, and he said, he didn't even let me talk. He said, his name was Marco, my position coach, Marco Butler. It's like, Marco, I understand what you're saying, but Johnson got to play. When he's in the game, you know, he's making plays, things has changed. He makes plays on special teams, he just got to play. And then, you know, from there on out, I started. I was a starter. And everything was earned. You know, so everything was earned, you know, but I started taking, you know, life for granted after that though. As far as like, I felt like I arrived at the highest level to where I could do anything off the field. I was arrogant, as far as just the way I move. You know, my coach got my back so I could do what I want. I was still living a totally different life. I had a strain on my relationship with my parents. Me and my moms was good, but me and my pops was, you know, it was certain things that transpired here and there that, you know, I didn't agree with, he didn't agree with. We just on the same type of time. So it was me versus the world. Mm-hmm. But then I was just kind of going through the motions, doing things I ain't had no business doing.
We tend to do that.
You know, with guys in the street, like, you know, I wasn't even feeling like I was a student. I was just moving like whatever I needed to do to get mine, I was gonna get it. And I was just, like I said, I was on my own. You know?
And that never gets us where we need to go.
Where we need to go.
And it's a lot of athletes that try to tote that line.
Without a doubt.
Because they got such a high status or the high recognition or the high accolades, and they think that they're invincible until they're not. And that also plays a part in fast forward to trying to make it to the league.
Which leads me to my junior year, I had an exceptional junior year. Man, led the conference in fumble recoveries, second in forced fumbles. I might have gave up a touchdown or 2, but 2-3 interceptions. And then, you know, me being a fairly tall and decent sized corner, it made me very marketable as a prospect on the next level, even with room to grow in my position.
Right.
Not saying I was the best or could have been if I looked at it the way I try to get my guys to look at it now, understanding everything that I understand in hindsight. But at Norfolk State was different because, you know, you got people that that is going through some things to go to Norfolk State. So it's like, it's either here or some extreme conditions. And then, you know, the environment Norfolk State is in, I seen a lot of students, you know, robbed at gunpoint, like coming in the dorm room in socks and drawers. And at the time, you know, I had access to firearms and, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I kept a firearm. That was just how my code was. Ain't nobody about to rob me like no regular student. I ain't with none of that. You know, it was a couple times my firearm saved my life there because I would be coming back from when I first got my first car in college. My first car I got in college, and I parked my car in the back of the dorm, which crossed the train tracks. You got Grandy Park housing projects, you know, and a lot of those, you know, young teens that come over, robbing. So I'll never forget, I was getting out the car one day, just coming back from a workout. And these two students, you know, me being on point, going through things I went through, it was kind of going through two cars. And I seen it in the rear view mirror of the car next to me. And I'm like, if they come one car closer, I'm up. Came one car closer. I turn around like, what's up? They scattered. Just protecting myself. And then at that point, I'm like, oh yeah, my baby with me at all times. So I kept it in my closet in my room. You know, a lot of people carry. This was a year after the Virginia Tech joint. It was crazy because the year before, when the dude shot up Virginia Tech, we was all at the cafeteria table. Like, that can't happen here. Like, he would have walked in, somebody else would have put him down. And I was in class one day. I just cracked them, you know, class. I always had my personality, and, you know, I had already established who I was on campus. So teachers knew, professors knew who I was, you know, bubbly, whatever, hype. And one of my teammates ran in my classroom, was like, yo, Dustin, police checking Brown Hall. I shot out of class right away. I'm talking about, no, can I leave? I beeline right to the dorm. And he talking to me, and I'm jogging over because I know I got my gun in my closet. And I couldn't remember if I locked my gun in my closet or if I didn't. So normally they would go, I'm like, how long they been in there? Like, they've been in there about 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, all right. Normally they would go from the first floor to the third.
What floor you was on?
It gave me, I was on the third. All the football players stayed on the third. I think the baseball players might have stayed on the first or second. The basketball players stayed on the, you know, but you kind of knew generally where everybody was. Yeah, because Kyle Quinn played in the NBA. He was on the second. So we was on the third. Anyway, shouts out to Kyle. That's my guy. Hope I see him this week at homecoming. But went up to the dorm room. I see him on the third floor. So I'm like, oh shit, okay. I run up the stairs. Officer Brown, police officers knew me, first name basis. Because a lot of things that was going on, I was just into a lot of BS, you know what I mean? Just being real. And Officer Brown, like, Mr. Johnson, we got a problem. And I'm like, yeah, I know you got my gun. Off the rip, he was devastated because I had a couple run-ins with him, but we built a rapport to where he was watching me get better and grow up. And, you know, he was like, man, what we gonna do? I gotta reprimand you. I gotta hope. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I don't want to take you in cuffs. Just walk out. You're gonna have to get in the police squad. I had to get in the squad car. But at this time, let me just call Coach Adrian. So I called my head coach. He didn't answer, but I left a message. So we had to have emergency hearing. I had to go down to the dorm room. People ran the dorm, the housing. And so at this time, people starting to figure out what happened. You know, it's echoing through the campus. So, you know, they found Dustin got caught with a gun. And remember the lady, she was AK. You know, shouts out to the AKs, no disrespect, but her energy was towards me. She was looking at me like a demon. Like, are you, ooh? She was like, you know, I'm gonna try to prosecute you. You know, and at this time, they had new laws to where it was a serious problem because this was after the Virginia Tech thing.
Yeah.
So we had to have emergency hearing. We went to the student union. We we went up to the hearing. My head coach, love him to death. I'm thinking he about to walk up on me, cuss me out. Him and a couple other coaches, they coming up the steps. I couldn't even look at him. I felt like I let him down. You know, he gave me the scholarship and he gave me a hug. He whispered in my ear, he said, I'm gonna get you out of this. It's like a monkey jump off my back. I'm like, what? How you gonna get me out of this? He said he got me. So we had our hearing, going through the hearing, and I never forget they talking. I didn't know how to talk in those situations. She's like, yeah, she's coming for me. So now I'm feeling like you talk, like you don't understand why. Like you don't go through what we go through on these campuses. You don't understand. You don't understand. So I start saying things. Maybe I like, what? I'm gonna protect myself. Do you know what goes on? And my coach squeezed my leg. Like, Shut up. Be quiet. So she was like, what you want to do? You want us to make a decision today, or you want to ask for a formal hearing? It's like kind of like an appeal situation. So she was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, you better ask for a formal hearing, because if you don't, I'm gonna prosecute you through the city of Norfolk. You're gonna be banned from the campus for the rest of your life. And so I asked for a formal hearing. I ended up getting a different hearing officer outside of herself. And Mr. Talaferro, shouts out to Mr. Talaferro. He was from Hampton, went to Hampton High School, you know, knew a few people I knew. Look at God. But he had to do his job. Yeah. So I'm moving around. I'm able to come to school, but my housing is done. So I got to move with a homeboy off campus, somewhere close by. Coming home on the option. So shouts out to my man AJ. Let me stay with him out Virginia Beach, College Park. I was staying out there, and then I had my formal hearing February 14th, 2008. You know, he heard me out. At that time, by that time, I'm more prepared. I typed up a little letter, you know how to apologize, yeah. Right? You know, I got a little game coming in. And he was like, but look, I get it, Dustin, but yeah, I got to do my job. That's what I'm going to do. He said, I'm going to need you to withdraw from all your classes, and I'm going to suspend you for a semester. And if do what you got to do, stay out of trouble. You know, we'll see through a couple people. I'll let you talk to the president of the school, and then we'll try to get you back. But as of now, you're banned from campus. You can't come this, you can't that. So it was like all the air's out of me. I knew something in the lines of that, but I wasn't. I'm like, all right, what I do? So do I go back home? So I immediately enrolled in Tidewater Tech instead of Thomas Nelson. I didn't coming home on it. So I stayed at my homie crib. He held me down. I got a little job at the YMCA out Virginia Beach. I did the TCC thing, trying to make sure I had enough credits to where I could transfer over and still qualify for the next year. In one class, it was economics. It was it was like a fast-paced class to where it was like a 4 or 5 week class. Yeah, but accelerated. You spend a lot of time in class. So Fridays, it was from 6 to 10. Saturdays, it was from like 9 in the morning to like 4 or 5. So it was like grueling. I ended up getting like a D. I needed a C, at least to transfer over. So all my other classes transfer over except that one. That one didn't transfer over. So the next year I wasn't eligible, but I never redshirted. So you used that year? I used that year as a red shirt. And my coach did everything to get me eligible because I was like the missing link on that team to kind of go up. We just had a transfer quarterback come in. We just had a lot of pieces, and it was just like me, and we had Chris Bell transfer from Penn State. He ended up being eligible too that year. And it kind of just, those couple missing pieces and somebody else too, but a couple missing pieces kept us from like potentially winning the MEAC. Because in 2007, we lost in the MEAC championship to Delaware State. So I redshirted that year. I was scout team, you know. Coach let me keep my scholarship. And then the next year, which I ended up needing to finish anyway, as far as academically, because I won't taking 15 credits, which lined you up to graduate 4 years. I was taking like 12, 13. And I finished the next year, you know. in 10.
So what did that situation do to you as far as the league?
It blackballed me as far as it just put an asteroid by my name. Cause it was like I had a subpar senior year. I made a few plays, but my headspace wasn't where it needed to be. I had a son on the way. I was just struggling as far as mentally, like we talked about. But I'm like, one more year of football. Like I'm just get this out the way, and then it's on to the not understanding. Like now you got to perform even better than what you did the year before, the year you played, because now they done forgot about you.
Exactly.
And then now you done got this on your name, you know, and you know, we had a junior day and a couple interviews with scouts kind of put it in perspective for me, because they was asking me questions about myself that I forgot about, but they knew so much about me because they was interested in me.
Right.
And you know, they were, of course, the first thing they bringing up is a gun charge, like, you know. And I explained it to them, like, I ain't gonna lie, sir, it's campus, you know, drive around a little bit, you know, not making excuses, but you want to know why, this is my why. And you know, I didn't understand the process. I just thought play football, figure it out. And finished my senior year, and life hit me like a ton of bricks. Now I got a son, you know, all the people that was, you know, I had the agency I was with, my agent got legal troubles, signed with an agent, had a good pro day, worked out for a few teams, but my talent versus, it was like the risk reward wasn't it.
Yeah.
It was like, it was too big of a risk to reward me an opportunity.
Right.
So, me and my son's mother, we staying out Stewart Gardens on 16th Street. You know, so life just, you know, just was, I'm back at the bottom with a son. What you gonna do? Me and her fell out.
You forced to figure
Now I
it
ain't
out.
got nowhere to go. You know, sleeping in my car sometimes, you know, my peoples, you know, they would open the door, but it wasn't, they just didn't trust me,
Right.
which I gave them all the reason in the world not to. And they right, you know, I respect it. So it was super survival mode. Now I got a son, now I got like, what I'm gonna do? And then when I graduated, but I still had 2 classes I had to finish.
They let you walk with them 2 classes.
Let me walk with them 2 classes.
I know
At the
how
time
that
it was 1, but it ended up being 2. But I ended up finishing later on. But so I'm like, all right, I gotta get a job that's gonna pay me. So I started mental health. Went over to the Pines. On my application I put I graduated when I didn't. But they got a big turnover rate, so they just need, all right, give us your transcripts later. You know, it take time to get official transcripts. All right, we got this orientation coming up. We'll get you in, but just make sure you get, all right. I mean, all right, what happened to you? I don't know, they ain't sent me yet. And I'm in there.
Right.
And it's working in mental health, which was a fairly good job at the time. Now I got enough to live a little bit, you know, hold down the spot, you know, pay some bills, you know, take care of my son. And then at the time I was green because I thought like, okay, me and my son broke up. His mother broke up. You know, she put me on child support. I guess she felt like that's what she needed to do at the time. No knock to her. But I felt like if I miss one payment, I'm going to jail. I was just green. Didn't do no research. So I stopped pursuing football. I'm like, I need to work. I need to take care of my son.
You know what's important.
Like, you know what I'm saying? What I'm going to do? And, but I always stayed up on my game and worked out and whatever. So I, you know, started doing mental health. I worked at the Pines first in Portsmouth. Then they had a bigger layoff at the Pines. Had a big layoff. I got laid off. So now it's back to square. I'm getting a little couple dollars unemployment, but it ain't nothing. Then I went to apply for Newport Behavior, and they make you take a personality test before you get those type of jobs. So I passed the one going into the Pines, but then the one going to Newport News I didn't pass. But I was laid off, so I was still a UHS employee, which they're both UHS. So I didn't pass the personality test. I'm on my way. Oh my God, what am I doing now? Then they call me like, yo, you still with UHS. You ain't even need a personality test. You good. So then I started working in new behavior, doing mental health. Was there for a year and a half, 2 years, excuse me. Went on vacation, made a real bad decision. Got locked up in Florida, 5 felonies, 3 misdemeanors. Charged. Never was convicted. And then had to call out of work from a jail phone, but my brother called on 3-way through his phone, but got me on the jail phone on 3-way just so I could call out of work because I can't go to work. I'm locked up. You know, I had to fight to get a bond. So I got in trouble in Georgia on the way down to Florida. Like, so now I'm on bond for two different states. You know, just wilding, just stupid decision. My bad. I got too comfortable. But I came home, finally got a bond, came home. My job let me go. Something stupid, but it was really because of that. That starts circling around. And so now I'm no job, fighting a case, son on the way. You know, it's just life really coming down on me. I ain't even figured out adulthood for real. You know, I'm just going through the motions, man. And I ended up, I'm just when I go through things, you know, I always resort to like little things make me grateful. Just the small things, any opportunity. Just give me an opportunity. You know, I had a homeboy who worked at AFES. He was at HR. He slid me through the cracks. Even with my case pending, I ended up getting pretrial intervention. In Florida, you know, they kind of lenient with certain things. As long as you ain't chopping nobody's head off, you know, a cartel boss, they gonna work with you. They just want your money. So it's in Florida. I had I ended up having to be on probation in Florida, but instead of going to the probation office every month, I would have to fax them, you know, keep them up to date, you know, but they just wanted their $100 a month, whatever it was, and
keep them off your back.
Right.
Just enough.
And I ended up being on that for 2 years. And then it was like it never happened after 2 years after I got off probation. And now it's off my record complete. You can't even see the charges. Because it's after 7 years, you stay out of trouble. You know, you can't even. So that ended up happening. But I got into AFES. Got my forklift license. Then Kim, who runs the fit shop, he was cool with my sister. I was walking from my son game on LaSalle Avenue because I stayed all the way down King Street. I used to walk. I had no car. He seen me walking, and he was getting off the interstate right there on Rip Rap. He seen me walking down Rip Rap. He like, "You need a ride?" I'm like, "Yeah." He get to tell me like, "Dustin, man, you ever thought about being a trainer, man? You need to be a trainer." And you know, I had certain qualifications to be a trainer because I had certain certs and stuff. And he was like, "Yo, I can get you at One Life." I'm like, "For real?" He like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right," because I was already training people. I was already known as the gym head. Everybody just want to come work out with me.
Right.
Never thought it could become part of my life the way it ended up being. Helped me get into One Life. And then I seen he got me my interview, and you know I killed the interview, and you know my training journey started.
So the rest was history.
Yeah, the rest was history after that. And then so One Life, you know, One Life got its politics. That kind of, you know, what it was. You know, a lot of underlying hate, you know, corporate stuff in that world. But I would wake up 3-something in the morning, go get on the forklift. Before I would walk sometimes from Fort Eustis to One Life because I ain't had no car. So I wouldn't get to One Life till about 7 sometimes till I started like, hold on, I ain't gonna keep walking. I would catch people like, "You going down? Can I get a ride? I give you a couple dollars gas money." They would drop me off at One Life.
You had to do.
And then I ended up saving up $700-800, got a 1993 Camry, older joint, started driving it to one Life in AFES. You know, I'm driving that 93 Camry like it's a Bentley, Maserati.
Yeah.
I got a car. So it's like, all right, I'm growing again. And started doing my thing, you know, both places. And then my old job, Phoebus Behavior, I seen one of the workers who got some status, and he was like, man, they need you back in there. Like, what's up with your situation? And I was like, I'm good now. Ooh. And they got me an interview, and they kind of pushed everything behind from what happened before. And they gave me another opportunity to work there. And then, so this time I'm coming in there. It's crazy. I used to have dreams of going back working there because I was really good at mental health. So then I got back in the mental health field.
You're very relatable.
4-5 years. I was there for about 3-4 years. Started growing. Became a lead tech. I was making good money at the time. Due to my experience, I could make more money. And then I ended up, leaving One Life, but I was still training. And then they was just burning me up at Nupa because I got real good. And, in mental health, when you good at the job, the patients, the clients or whatever, whatever they are, they want you. And I was running the boys' school hall way down bottom. Everybody would come to me for everything. Mr. Dustin, if Mr. Dustin here, and anybody could work on my shift because I'm gonna figure it out. I made my boss's job easier. I made my coworkers' job easier. I just took on a lot because I was so grateful for being back in a space where I could really. So, my daughter's here. By that time, I got my daughter, and I'm just like for my family. And then one day, I came home, and me and my daughter's mom, we wasn't, we was apart at the time. Who I'm with, my lady now. Shouts out to my lady, Porcia. We got together. We started becoming more serious, and I came. She was at my house waiting on me, and I was there. And then she was like, "This job burning you out." My face was sinking in. I won't eat in. All I wanted to do was just, smoke and just get to the next day. And I wasn't eating the way I should have been. I was just
not healthy.
I won't let my mental was gone. She was like, "Oh, nah, we about to resign. We not even about to go through this. No. I got you, baby." She was a nurse, registered nurse, great woman. She was like, "Whatever we got to do, but I'm not going to watch this place kill you." I resigned 4/20/2018. And so now I'm out figuring out again what's going on, what's the next move. I was with one of my homeboys who's cool with Michael Vick. He was like bodyguard at the time, my man Rio, shouts out to Ree. And he was talking one day, he was like, "Cuz about to call me about this, about that." And I was like, "I ain't talked to Mike in a minute, man. Like, when you talk to him, tell him I said what up." Like, he was like, "No, I'm gonna put you on the FaceTime." I'm like, "All right." I guess he thought I was playing because I was just, like that's the homie. Mike FaceTime. "What's good, D? Woo. Giving me good energy. They started the American Flag Football League for NFL. He was like, "Yo, I got my flag football team. You about to play on NFL Network. You want to check? You want to make some money playing for me?" "Yeah." He was like, "Bet.
No brainer.
Give Brick Show information." Shouts out to Bricks. I give Brick Show information. I was his manager at the time, and I'm gonna get you on. So it was like God set me up, lead a job, all right, boom. And it was good money in that game. We played on NFL Network.
And it was doing what you love to do.
Me and Ocho Cinco, I felt like for that week I was there.
You was living your dream.
I was in the league. And nothing separated them from me. I actually was in better shape. I was more prepared. I was more equipped to play in that game than they was. But nothing separated me from them in those 4 weeks other than their status from what they did in the league. So it was like for that week, I was in the league. Like I felt like I belonged around these guys who I watched play on TV, who I watched, and it was a dope experience. Brandon Browner, Michael Griffin, Ocho Cinco, Steve Smith. I mean, names could go on forever. But I'm forever grateful for Mike and his camp for making that happen for me, because it not only provided a source of income at the time, which I was in survival mode, but it gave me a stage and a platform that I also dreamed of being on and felt like I belonged but just pull myself away from. And I say pull myself because any and everything that I did in life or went through in life was on me. I don't blame nothing on nobody. I hold myself more accountable than anybody else I hold accountable.
You got to.
So it ain't nobody's fault. Anything that I went through, even if they did something to me, it was my fault for having them around me, or it was my fault for being around them, or whatever it is. Like, I just don't point the finger at nobody else. I'm gonna be accountable for myself. So that set me off in a lot of ways, and I built relationships and rapport, and I never forget after the game, because we ended up losing in a close game to Ocho Cinco team. But after the game, Ocho Cinco wanted me to travel with his team after that. And me not understanding the politics, and I'm like, nah, I'm team road runners. Because next year we were supposed to go back and do it again, but it wasn't the same. But I'm loyal. I'm like, I ain't going to play for them. I'm team road runners, so we see them next year. And he shouted me out on his Instagram. We had a dope picture on NFL Network. People was taking, he hugged me, brought me in. One play, I was guarding him, he tried to shake me. I pulled his flag. It was dope.
You needed that.
I needed that. You know what I'm saying? And I came home, it was a little love, and, I still kept it humble. Still in my world that I was in. It took me away for a little bit, but still had to figure out life. Yeah. Still got to get, moving forward. Still got to provide. So I ended up going to the shipyard for a little bit. Took a breather from mental health for about 9-10 months. And I got an interview with Maryview Hospital over in Portsmouth. And I went and interviewed in my shipyard clothes because I worked on that side of the water in Norfolk Naval. So I went straight from Norfolk Naval to my interview. They got me on. Was over there doing my thing with that. Then I ended up transitioning from there to Centera Norfolk General right before the pandemic. I think about 6-7 months for the pandemic. I'm working and doing my thing. And then the pandemic hit. And I was part-time. I came on part-time, but I was working full-time hours. So I was still getting my money.
Yeah.
But when the pandemic hit, they cut my hours because I wasn't full-time. So they're going to get the hours to the full-time people. So they took me out the schedule for about a month. And I never forget, I'm going across the water one day. It's like, I work second shift. So I'm going through the tunnel. I sneak through the tunnel. I get a phone call. Oh, we don't need you today at work. So at the time, I'm doing training on the side. I got like 2-3 clients. So I'm like, all right, hold on. I can't live like this. So I didn't drive. I didn't turn and get on the tunnel. I drove. I went from the HIBT. I just drove all the way through ODU and all of that, and then went through the Modern and Merrimack around the other way because I won't by the way in traffic.
Exactly. So
I'm like, something got to give. And I'll never forget, it was February 15th, 2020. And I was doing Sunday school classes at Fitness Junkie. Mike Lambert, shouts out to Mike Lambert over in Norfolk, my teammate at Nova State. I was doing Sunday classes at his gym. And I said, something got to give. I said, I had a conversation with myself. And I always say the realest conversations is with yourself because you can't lie to yourself. And I asked myself, I said, do you think you could be a trainer? Like, do you think you could do this full time? Do you really want to do this? Like, I said, all right, I told myself, if I work every day for a whole year straight and I didn't make a living out of this, then I just got to figure out something else. So from that day forward, I had 4 clients at that time. I put my foot on the gas pedal. Like, I ain't seen nobody else do it like that. So I just started training. Then I started putting out content. Mm-hmm. Then I started, making videos. So then my cousin Rail called me. Shouts out to Rail. He called me. He like, yo, you ready to get this bag? Like, you ready to get this money? Like what you mean? He like, they done put the kids out of school for a year. So I'm like, what?
Go time.
So first week, parents was a little nervous, but Corona ain't never scared me. I don't even know what it was. God had his hand on me. But I started doing sessions. Every day I'm outside. I went on Amazon, spent about $200 on equipment, put it in my trunk. I just started doing pop-ups, pull up. Like, I'm here, I'm going online.
They come and find you.
Hopping in. So I went from 4 clients to now I got 20. So then at the 20, now I ended up getting like 200 clients, you know, just in groups. I'm talking about 30 a pull up, 30 a leave. I'm doing 5-6 groups a day. I'm making some serious money because, you know, they giving out the pandemic relief money. So people, and then the kids in the house all day getting on their nerves. They like, where you at? We just need to get about the house. And I took off. So then the job called me back. Like, what's up? Like, oh yeah, I'm good. I ain't coming back. I ain't go back. And ever since then, I've been working for myself. And then I ended up the first year, I think it was 2020, first year after the corona, when they put out the all district accolades, or it might have been 2021. No, it was 2021. They put out the all district accolades. Every skilled player in football was under my program from the Peninsula. Every skilled player that made all district was came through my program one time or not. So, you know, at that moment I'm like, all right, I'm here to do this. And then, you know, going through the mental health and being a counselor, it was more than just training. It was mentor.
Training you for where you walking into now.
Right. So that's what led me to be where I'm at today.
That's a hell of a story.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you had to go through that to find yourself, to figure out what was your calling.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, what advice would you have to student athletes? Because Sport Exposure is all about exposing our journey, exposing our story to leave a blueprint.
Right.
So finally, what would you like to expose about sports to inspire the next generation of student athletes?
Give it everything. Compete. They taking away competition nowadays. It's all about running. Running ain't always the answer, you know, because when you become a man, it's things you can't run from. Sometimes you got to run into it. Sometimes you got to see that bull and go head to head with them, like 2 rams. And I ain't running from you. They all ain't ducking nothing. Y'all duck a lot.
Yeah.
No, I really ain't ducking nothing for real. So, you know, embrace the competition. Let it bring the best out of you. Don't always think it's a political thing behind it. Like, you know, I get athletes call me, and an athlete called me last week, man, coach, I don't think my coach likes me. And I don't know why he thought to call me for that conversation. Make him like you. Leave him no choice. Shut up, go play football, go perform, do what you gotta do. Like, make it to where he gotta have you out there. You gotta make yourself undeniable. Every year, I don't do like New Year's resolutions, I do words. 2021 was undeniable. I made myself undeniable. 2022 was network. I networked. I drove to different colleges. I, built relationships with poor. 2023 was growth and expansion. I've done that. So every year I gotta live under that word.
I like that. I'm out there adapt that.
I'm not gonna do this, and just give me that one word and it's gonna stick with me in my head. And that's what I go off of. And don't let nobody make you this your dream. Like when you lay down at night, when you dream by yourself. It ain't up to nobody around you to believe in your dream. They're never gonna believe in your dream because they can't see what you're dreaming about. You have to manifest that and make them believe in what you're dreaming about. And the only way to do that is to believe in yourself when don't nobody else believe. I used to have people laugh at me. I get out the car, set up my equipment, and what he doing? But after they sit down and watch it, oh, how much you charge? Oh, what?
You can't worry about outside people.
At all.
Ever.
Haters, it's so, we could be in here all day. The hate, the duplicates, the people that try to do what I do and fail, and I still ain't mad at them. But they had to realize, hold on, you got to be built a certain way to maintain this.
You also didn't get here overnight.
I told you them people that think that they could just go from rookie to all Madden.
And this story that you just told is a perfect explanation of that.
But it ain't, it's only special people, special platforms that this story can be told on.
I appreciate
it's a privilege, because things that I just shared, it's only a handful of people that know that. And maybe a couple fingers on the hand. There's certain things I share today my family don't even know. But, everybody ain't meant to know your story because most of the time they don't care. So I don't even waste my time with giving people things that you ain't gonna take the time to embrace. We ain't even gonna waste our time. Just good luck. But my boys that come through, especially my older boys in college, and they know who to go to when they need the realness, or even when they need certain things though, I do whatever for them, but do what you gotta do. Cause I got boys that, they don't got, Coach Justin, they need $10, $15 in the eating. I got them.
It's a blessing that you're in a position to do that for them.
Without a doubt. But it take away from things that I could do for myself.
Right.
But I'm cool with that because it ain't nothing that I could do for myself that's going to change who I am. Like shoes, clothes, and hanging out, and I don't party, I don't chill. Every now and then it gotta be special. But, I don't do that for those reasons because I never know when one of my boys gonna call me in the middle of the night. I done bailed boys out of jail. I done did so many things that, in this day business. But, they could come to me for anything because I'ma love you unconditionally. I love unconditionally. So, I'm gonna give you what's real, but at the same time, I'm gonna help build you back up. But now you got to be receptive, because now I done held you down and did this. Now you gotta
hear me.
You gotta hold your side of the bargain there. So that's why I am. That's why I don't got a lot of adult friends no more. I'd rather be around my athletes, building them up, than adults who are who they are.
They show you a different type of love too. It's sick.
It's crazy.
It's sick. It's sick. But once again, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your story. Thank you for sharing. And I pray that there's a student athlete out there that's listening, that heard something, that's grabbed something from this, because that was raw.
Yeah.
That was real raw, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
So we'll catch y'all next episode. Thank you.
Peace.